It's good to be here again. Another beautiful Sunday afternoon. Looking forward to vibing with my brethren and sisters tonight again. As I said, I was here first night and a few little things came across. We know how they work, but we are not going to stop working. So I say welcome again to the channel African Liberation Station. And this is Ras Kwaku here, our brother Kwaku, as many of you know me. So we are going to come forward and we're going to discuss some of these things, you see, because it is important for us to continue on this journey that we are on. So I said to everyone that is tuning in, give thanks for your presence all the time, every time. Much love, ancestral power, and guidance in all things. And I ask the universe to continue to turn in your favor at all times. They can't stop us, they try, but they cannot stop us because we are the people that is going to liberate ourselves. You see what I'm saying? Tonight we're going to talk about division because division is a very, very powerful tool that our enemy has been using against us as a people, as a nation, in every aspect of our life. Division is something that they use to make sure that we don't come to our higher self. They make sure whether we as individual, as a nation, as community, they make sure that we don't come together. You see, division is like sometimes I use the word chasm, but a chasm sometimes don't express it well enough. Because when you come and you sit down and you think about the divide, and I'm gonna break this down and I'm gonna show you guys what we are talking about. For instance, they will look at us, right? We're not just African people. Just like when you see Indians, you know they are Indians. You know where they come from. When you see Chinese, you know they're Chinese and you know where they come from. Peace and love, my brother. You know, when you see all these people, Japanese, whatever they call them, you know who they are. Europeans, whatever, you know who they are. Now, with us as carbonated people, what they have done in a great way, even though we are African, and when you see an Indian in America, you know who he is and you know where he's coming from. You know his roots. But they will tell you that I'm a Jamaican. They will look at one of our brothers, our sisters that was born in America, and they will say, oh, he's an African American. Then you will have one that born in the Caribbean in Trinidad, and they say, oh, he's a Trinidadian, but he looked like me and you. Then you will have another one in Barbados, and they'll say, oh, he's a Bijan because he was born over there. Never associate him with not being an African or her. Never. And that's the thing now, because of this divide, and I'm gonna really break this divide down in a way to show you how these people work. They start to divide us from we were small. You go to school or you go to church, they divide you into categories. When it comes to, for instance, religion, you will have one family member, they might be a Baptist. You have another one, they may be a Jehovah's Witness. You have another one, they're Seventh-day Adventists. You have another one, they're Church of England. You have another one, they are Protestant. You have another one, they are whatever you can think of it, Muslim, whatever you want to call them, they are all these things and more. Now, when you look at all these divide, for us not to come together, the other one will say, I'm from here or I'm from there. And that's all they happen. That's all we do. We is a come from all these different places. Then it come down to the place of tribalism. Oh, this one say, I'm from that tribe, I'm from the Ashanti, I'm from this, I'm from that. When you really sit down and think about it, the place that we find ourselves in such a divided state of mind, it is unreal, and yet we cannot see it. But you know, the funny thing is, this God they tell you about, they tell you he's a God of unity, and he's not a God of disorder. Now, if this God is not a God of disorder, how come you have so many different religions? How come? A house that is divided against itself cannot stand. That's a fact. Now, you have this God that say on one hand is a God of unity and a God of peace. And yet you have hundreds of thousands of religions throughout the world. And yet everyone's supposed to be serving this God in their own way. Does that make any sense? Isn't that a big division? That if people, if this God is a God of oneness and order, don't everyone would be in this one religion that makes sense because this God is unity? But this God, because he doesn't exist, but the person who you think is the one that is causing you to be divided. You see what I'm saying is this God morphed himself into nothing but a devil, really. Because he says one thing over here, then he says another thing over here. And you're thinking, does this make sense?